Welcome to the Chromaniacs, your final look in 2025 inside San Diego FC and MLS. My name's Craig Elston, joined by my Chromaniacs, Tony Sanchez and Alex Pena. Tony, what's going on, brother?
Well, it's the final one of the year. Let's get into holiday spirit. Let's get it done. San Diego FC, its first year, it was actually announced that Mikey Varas and company were getting started 1 year ago today. The post went up for his assistants and everything. And now we're climbing into year two. Crazy stuff here, but we're excited to roll through. Alex, come with us.
Yeah, very good. And yeah, we got news. We got players traded. We got players drafted. All sorts of news coming out of the San Diego FC camp. So really excited to get into it.
And we shall on this episode number 28 of the Chromaniacs, our last of 2025. We will take the Christmas and New Year weeks off. We'll be back in the first week of January with episode number 29 and continuing forward with year two of the Chromaniacs. But, you know, I thought right at the start of the show, we could even just take a quick look back at the origin of this show, because with tonight's publishing, our first show was posted on June 3rd, 2025. That was the first episode of the Chromaniacs, and this will be the 43rd episode of the Chromaniacs overall, counting all of our post-game shows, of course. So regular shows, 28, which maps pretty quickly to starting in the first week of June, and this being the second to last week of December. 28 episodes, maps pretty clear, but you throw in the post-game shows, and you got yourself 43 episodes in half a season, or half a year, half a calendar year for a first-year SDFC podcast. And between YouTube and the audio podcast, well over 10,000 downloads to our first half year of existence. And, you know, you might wonder, why would a first-year podcast for a first-year team start halfway through the season? Well, origin story way, there was going to be a weekly show on 97.3 The Fan to cover San Diego FC and MLS with myself and Tony and Chiva. And it was going to be a co-pro of Odyssey and SanDiego.Futbol. And then funny thing happened. I kept asking, when can we start the show? Remember that? It was like January, February. Yeah. When can we start the show? Oh, there's budget issues. Oh, there's this, there's that. It was all a bunch of bullshit. They were going to cancel our show to cancel our contracts in the first week of March. And because of that, there was no launching of this show on the radio because it never happened. Yeah. And then it was like a couple of months of, well, what are we going to do? And is SanDiego.Futbol going to do something? Am I going to do something? What's going to happen here, there, everywhere? Well, the Chromaniacs came out of that. And we began first week of June. We started talking about it in May. We began first week of June. And since then, 43 episodes. And I do feel and dare say we've put ourselves in that spot now of being, you know, the place to go for San Diego FC commentary. There's a couple other spots. There's some SG pods that happen. There's a couple other independent places, but I feel like we've kind of taken that spot just the way I thought we would and made it our own. And I'm really, really happy for everybody who has found the show and enjoyed having an independent place for San Diego FC commentary that gets access through Tony and through our friends at SanDiego.Futbol to the very inner workings of the club, to hearing from the head coach, hearing from the sporting director, hearing from, you know, everybody from Chucky to Dreyer to Yepe, all the way down, you know, to some of the rookies and young players on the team. You've heard them all on Chromaniacs here in 2025, but you've also got the perspective of Alex, the writer, me, the media guy, soccer fan, a literal supporter in the North End. I have the wig on and the suit and all that for that. And Tony up in the press box, so multiple perspectives of the same club. coming at you from an independent place, beholden to nobody, and here for you, here for the audience. It's really great, guys, to be on this journey with you, and I'm really thankful for the audience that's found us already.
Yeah, and it's been a great journey, and I'm grateful for you, Craig, and Tony for kind of welcoming in this space because yeah, this is the first time I've ever done something like this, and it's been very helpful for me. uh, the numbers and the subscribership through Chromatic FC, now chromaticfc.com, has grown. Yeah, it has grown, and yeah, there, and I've also launched a new Instagram page, and it seems like through the podcasts, people have been wanting to listen, get more content, and and they message me, and they want to know certain things like, can you help me? Can you explain GAM for me? Can you explain this? Can you explain? It's been a lot of fun doing this. So, thank you for the both of you, and thanks to everyone that has subscribed, and keep following along through SanDiego.Futbol or through Spotify or Apple Podcast or any of those. Like it's been such a fun year covering this team and talking about MLS, and yeah, just getting everybody more informed about this new league that we're in.
Yeah, I mean, I always mention I'm always very grateful for what we've been able to do in SanDiego.Futbol here in with the Chromaniacs, and it's a different outlet too for different discussions too, right? Like in SanDiego.Futbol and Two Balls and a Mic, it is always just tactics and this and this and this, but this also gives the outlet of that fan perspective of like, hey, like there clearly is a voice that's needed in terms of, hey, we're talking directly to the supporters, to the support. And does that mean sometimes a little rose colored? Sure, 100%. But that's part of the thing that we have to find the positives. And if there is any sort of critiques, we can also talk about those too. And because we're independent, that's what I'm all about. The independence, the ability to really do whatever it is that we want in a different sort of space. And it's the adventure of a lifetime. So it's also helped our goals, Chiva and I, and hopefully getting us to that World Cup. And it all is because people listen and people are tuning in, and people, I love it, but sometimes it's like, I wish I should have clipped that. Like I see our clips or I see our interviews in other pages and Instagrams pop up. I'm like, cool. Like that's what it is. SanDiego.Futbol is an open source for San Diego soccer. Here's the information. Please, people need to know this, and I hope that's what it comes off across. It's genuine, and it's for the love of the game and the love of the city.
Yeah, and I mean, really, as we move into the soccer talk, just real talk, I knew this was a first-year team, a city that's hungry, a fan base that's coming together for the first time, and a local media that, in general, was hired to cover the Chargers. And it approaches soccer with a measure of fear and bravado, to try and masquerade the fear. And that we had that opportunity to step into this space, to be regular. And if we worked hard this year, we could position ourselves going into 2026 as the preeminent independent source for SDFC podcast, SDFC talk, a place that everyone can come together. And that's our goals for season 2 of the Chromaniacs, is to just continue to build on that momentum from the very beginning of the season, straight from CONCACAF champions all the way through to the end of the year, and see where it takes us at the end of 2026. And, guys, with, I'm not saying like Padres Hot Tub is a media empire or anything, but we're the number 1 Padres podcast. Everybody knows it. The competitors fell by the wayside along the way, and so shall things be in the SDFC reign. We're going to keep going, and we'll be the preeminent spot, and everyone will know it. And I think they already are starting to know it. So I'm really, really proud of what we've done in 6 months, and I can't wait our 1-year anniversary at the midpoint of next year, and then onward and upward. And enough of our self-congratulation.
Can I bridge it really quick?
Sure.
Let's bridge it with anniversary. And 1 year ago today, Mikey Vada was announced, along with his technical staff, that is still there. I can also see the rudimentary Photoshop that I've gotten a little better
Oh
at.
my God, I was just going to say. It's so much better.
But yeah, I mean, literally 1 year ago today, we were meeting these people, the people that now people would stand in front of a bus for Mikey Varas and the people who put this squad together. So it's a good time to reflect here. So we'll kick it on. I think that's a good place to kind of start and bridge it together back with the team.
All right, guys, we've got MLS Super Draft players. We've got Lewis Morgan. We've got Kieran Sargent. Where do you want to start? Triage this leaderboard for me. Where do we start?
I think the bigger news, right? Should we start with the Lewis Morgan?
I'm down for that. Here we go. Not that one. 1 year in, guys. 1 year in.
All right.
Oh my. All right. So the Scottish number 9, literally wearing number 9 for New York Red Bulls in this Photoshop, Lewis Morgan, is now San Diego FC. He is a Chromato. And Lewis Morgan has a delightful career track that you can look up on the internet, that he is either healthy and productive or injured and completely useless. And last year was the injured and out version, 2 different injuries, total of 3 games, absolutely no production. The year before that, double-digit goals, helps lead Red Bulls all the way to MLS Cup. And so on and so forth the 2 years before that. But guys, Morgan looks like the most qualified 9 in the history of San Diego FC.
From the looks of it, it seems like they got a player that can do a little bit of everything, can play anywhere on the front line. It seems like he can play a little bit behind and be a midfielder too, an attacking midfielder. And not only that, but what San Diego FC often wants out of these forwards is, can you defend? Can you backtrack and, get your guy, going the other way? And it seems like he can also do that. He can defend pretty well. And so they got all around player when he's healthy, right? He's coming off a couple of injuries from last year. Only played 130 minutes or so, and so he's looking for a bounce back season. And with San Diego FC, I think this is a perfect candidate where you're kind of looking, when you're looking at the front line and all the players that we have. I think it's okay to take a flyer on a guy like this, right? That needs a little bit of a redemption story in his career. So it's not a bad move positionally, and hopefully we get to see a healthy Lewis Morgan in 2026.
Well, it's been Rehab FC here in San Diego FC for some of these players, making it back to national team. Craig and I were just cracking a smile on that first highlight because the unfortunate side was Dos Santos. Getting scored on here by Lewis Morgan. And, maybe that's only going to happen in training, but yeah, how young Dos Santos looks there. But it's a player that's definitely going to contribute offensively if healthy. Again, that's the big if, right? And if he's able to contribute in such a way, I think it's an avenue for this player to be much like Mikey Varas likes, a utility player that you can play on a false 9. You can play him on a striker as a true striker 9 position. You can also bring him down to the midfield, kind of like a Oni Valakari, almost like a reverse Oni Valakari in a sense too. And again, I don't want to go ahead and put this name out there. You know who I'm talking about, the M.I. Escondido guy. Maybe a replacement of that, right? That archetype of player that can shoot from outside the box. He can get a fox in the box as well, but has that talent to really adapt. And that's the key for any player coming into San Diego FC from now on. Can they adapt to the system, and will they adapt to the system?
And again, I'll keep it simple. The 9 is where they have just swung and missed over and over. Marcus Ingvartsen, injured and ineffective, other than a couple of brief glimpses when he played in 2025. Overall body of work for Ingvartsen as the number 9 soccer player for SDFC, not very impressive. Tomas Angel started the year playing the number 9. By the end of the year, was first guy out of the facility after every training session. So said Tony Sanchez when he was there watching, who was first out of the building. Oni Valakari got a run at number 9, and he was dropped back to the midfield and was much more effective when he did. And Amal Pellegrino got some run at the number 9, did absolutely nothing, and then said, I'm not a number 9, and wound up being at left wing throughout the productive run that he had for SDFC in the playoffs. The number 9 wound up being Corey Baird for San Diego FC in the playoffs, and he was creating space, had some speed, made a couple of nice assists along the way, but doesn't have the scoring pedigree of Lewis Morgan, who has twice put double-digit goals up in an MLS campaign. Morgan can be the 9 for this team. Sure, he can be adaptable, Tony. He can fit into this spot or that spot, but the spot he needs to fit into is the one that his jersey number is 9. Do that.
Yeah, no, and the thing is that I'm confident that San Diego FC is going to be able to get the best out of Lewis Morgan, whatever version of the post-injury Lewis Morgan is. And again, that also brings another MLS veteran, something that this team, is not necessarily building an MLS stronghold. They are going to bring players. You heard from Tyler Heaps over from FC Northland, over from overseas, and some young players, as we're going to talk about here in the draft as well. But you need that veteran presence that knows how to get it done in MLS. And Lewis Morgan is that player, especially up top, that's needed. And hey, bring that competition, right? If Morgan is healthy and Ingvartsen is healthy, why not? Let's go ahead and have a healthy 9 competition.
Yeah, and he's an absolute shooter from his, just looking at his 2024 numbers. He's in the 95 percentile of shooters, and he was one of the top shooters in the league. Not so much in quality. It just kind of seems like he just likes to shoot. His XG is just a little tad lower than it should be. But I think that's kind of what we need out of that position, is someone that's going to be fearless and just isn't afraid to just go for it. Because we just weren't getting anything from that, from Valakari to Tomas Angel. It just wasn't working in that position. But and the other thing is, I think that he has been successful as a passer too. So yeah, just an all around great player to have, and hopefully that just opens up more lanes. And I think I think the guy that should benefit a lot more should be Chucky Lozano, to the left of him. So if he can attract more attention, and then he's like, oh, Chucky's open, let me dump this pass off over to Chucky, and he can score, it's going to create so many more opportunities for Chucky.
Yeah, this is why I think a 9 is so important for 2026, because Dreyer is going to see more defensive attention than he has ever seen at any point in his life, amateur or professional. Chucky Lozano is always going to draw the attention of the defense when he is on the field and healthy. And the only time, and it was 1 month, and we'll always remember it the rest of our life. You never remember, you never forget your first. And our first true number 9 was Milan Olaski, the first kid who went to that position just looking to be available in scoring areas to shoot when he got the ball. And what did he do? He scored 10 goals in a minute. In a minute, he scored 10 goals. And he was gone as soon as he came, and the loan is gone, and that's all said and done. But Lewis Morgan is here, and he's here with club control going forward. If he performs and the club is interested in keeping him, they have the ability to do so. And based on his body of work, if he's healthy, big if, but if he's healthy, he could be a 15, 20 goal scorer next year with Chucky and Dreyer next to him, drawing all the attention and him just getting to scoring positions to shoot. That's what this team has lacked all of 2025 in their first year, with very, very brief exceptions. And it's what they can have with Morgan in 2026.
Yeah, and just to talk about the cost a little bit, it's not going to cost this team a lot to have him on the roster. And I think he was making 1.4 million with the New York Red Bulls, and right now they're selling off assets like their MC Hammer back in the 90s, really, because like they were practically giving away Lewis Morgan because they want to free up space under their cap to make more moves. They just got Cade Cowell. They got to open up some space for him, and then whatever other moves are coming for the Red Bulls. So we're getting a player for half his salary potentially, and then also the GAM that's given away this year might come back in 2027. So, and even if Morgan does well and they max out on the deal where they give away like 650,000, and potentially that says that San Diego FC returns like 525. You're looking at you just got a player for $125,000 in GAM, and a third round draft pick that really doesn't mean much in the grand scheme of the super draft. So you're getting a player for almost nothing. And it's a great move by Tyler Heaps just to take a flyer on a guy that has so much great potential. So Heaps buying low on a great player, not costing you much. You get to see what he can do, and then in 2027, yeah, if he does well and you want to pick up that option, yeah, pay him. You go back to paying him that 1.4 he was making. So it's a good move from the front office.
Before we move to Karen Sargent, Tony, let me ask you something that I already got from some Instagram DMs, etc., which is like the Lewis Morgan trade is announced, and I got back, oh, I thought SDFC was going to spend money this offseason. It looks like instead they're going to go the cheap route and get injured players to come in and play for the team. Where's our third DP? Where's our next big money signing? Without signing on to that in any way, what do you think about that?
Yeah, first they're going to go ahead and cover their bases and just really address those areas. And as Tyler Heaps and Mikey Vadas said in their exit interviews, they're going to look internally and just honestly just add those accents to the base that's already here in San Diego FC. Not a lot of turnover in terms of what's the base of San Diego FC. We've seen some re-signings. We've seen people come in. We've seen a couple of departures. This team is going to go ahead and expand, especially with the cancellation of their participation in Coachella Valley Invitational, which means they're going to go all in CONCACAF Champions and CONCACAF in the tournament here coming up early in next 2026. But that still leaves space for one DP to come on in. And I mean, it's still MLS, and I don't mean that in a slight. It's still MLS, and look at what going for quote unquote the cheap team got you year one. You went with draft kids. You went with injured players. Your DP, and again, Chucky FC, cover your ears. You went with a historically injury-prone DP as your highest paid player. So you can't have it both ways. This is going to be a team effort. They know and are very calculated with who they're getting. Now, if it's another Andres Reyes situation where you go for another Red Bulls player who's injury prone, you bring him in and you just see him once for 40 minutes and a red card. Okay, well, we can talk about that. But I don't think this is the case. This is a little bit more calculated. This is a 29-year-old who's, coming into his prime and as an intelligence a player that is going to assimilate to a system. It's not an individual, it's a system. But I do know that there is still that call out for a third DP for San Diego FC. Will it happen in the winter? I'm not too sure it's going to happen in the winter. It might be a mid-season reinforcement for Tyler Heaps' squad.
Yeah, and that sounds about right because right now you get to see what you have out of this squad, and yeah, if you need to make some changes, the summer transfer window is there to bring in somebody else. But um, just keeping track of all this and how many senior roster spots they have. They only have a couple, and obviously they have one DP spot, so it only takes one. But I think they were gonna make a move like this. I thought that maybe signing like Eric Tommy from Sporting KC might have happened, because he's also one of those players that was injured last year. You could have bought low and brought him in, and he could have been your attacking midfielder. But I think this works just as well. You bring in these players to, yeah, you're focusing on making this a team, and it's not just going to take one player to kind of flip the script. It's still going to take a little, these minor adjustments, these little, minor signings that might go under the radar right now, but then they, when you see like Lewis Morgan play and he's out there scoring a couple goals in a match, then you're going to be like, oh, okay, I see what Tyler Heaps was doing back in December.
And for these players too, like there's that, Premier League snobbery, or even the Liga MX snobbery, like, oh, these players are not big names. Okay, you want your names? Okay, Lewis Morgan played in Celtic. He was he was in Europa League. He was in Sunderland. Like, these are names that most of people who have fandoms in other MLS teams or Liga MX teams, the players in those teams would dream of playing in Sunderland. Like, that's the reality, right? This is a player with pedigree. He's coming over, has a different European mentality of approaching the game, and that's what they're building here. A local San Diegan, European, Euro vibe team, and it's been working out so far.
Now, today, the day of the MLS Super Draft, and SDFC not only working to acquire players via the standard selection process, but also via trade, and they pick up Kieran Sargent. I need you guys to help me out and tell me a little bit about Kieran Sargent, who is coming to San Diego.
Oh, well, this is he was part of the Houston Dynamo, and he was one of those players that is on the supplemental roster but is unavailable because they loaned him out. They loaned him out to Lexington SC, part of the USL Championship, where he got a ton of minutes, tons of playing time, and he looked like a really good fullback there. It seemed like he was very much a part of the attacking phase, so very much your wing back. Like, he was really going pushing forward, which is really good in this system. You want him to look like a Luca Bonbino, that he can be part of both the the attack and the defense. And yeah, he had 5 assists. He can give you some crosses, he can give you some passes in the box, and that's almost like a Luca Bonbino prototype that you want to see. And he was part of this, and something you're familiar with, right, Craig? The Rule 5 draft. This is essentially a Rule 5 player that his option was not picked up by Houston Dynamo, so he's available to get picked up by any other team. He didn't go through the draft that they had in the last couple of days because he opted out and he wanted a deal done with another team. So he got the team San Diego FC to sort out a deal and get a trade with the Houston Dynamo. And it kind of seems like, yeah, another guy that you're taking a flyer on that's going to be part of your supplemental roster. And guess what? It's been working. It's been working really well for San Diego FC. Luca Bonbino, just list them all. Mano Dua, Ian Pelcher, Oscar Verhoeven. They've had a lot of success with these types of players already. So bringing someone like Kieran Sargent into this fold, I think that's going to be really well for this kid and the whole entire team.
Yeah, and diamonds in the rough, right? Like, this is what they're going to be doing, San Diego FC. They're going to be finding everybody else's, I don't want to say trash and make it their treasure. It's just players that aren't going to be breaking into that first 11. Luca Bombino was saying it this entire time. He's so grateful to be in San Diego FC because he gets those times, that hours, those minutes, the game time, and that experience. And because of that, he was able to go into a national team camp. And these are all the progressions that a young player wants to do. Kieran Sargent, a 22-year-old that sees an opportunity, and San Diego FC also sees an opportunity to potentially offload some of Bombino's workload because it was a lot. It was definitely a lot for a young player, and you don't necessarily want to test him and redline it as much as you did year one, because he is a young player and he is still growing. Like he's a kid essentially, and these players on the wing, especially the attacking forms, they tend to add a little bit of mass because they need to be good defenders, but they also need to be quick, and because of that wears down on their bodies, and because those extra kilos, those extra pounds of muscle are on them, they're not able to maneuver as much on the defensive end, and that could potentially be a liability. So there's these little things that just come together for a young player that it's good to have somebody in a competition aspect on the back end too. And look, who knows what's still going to happen over on the right back position. Maybe Luca Bombino, tries that out a little bit more, and we've seen him in that position as well. And at the end of the day, Sargent is a good maneuver. This is what we're going to be seeing from San Diego FC from here on out. In these moments, in these moves, you're going to be getting these players that you're going to be like, what, where, why, USL? Like, what's going on? No, this is the process. They're going to go under the Right to Dream banner. They're still young. They can still learn, and they're going to be successful. And if they're not, San Diego FC has also been pretty well about, you know what, you're just not going to play. They're very good about that.
I like it as a depth move, and I like it as part of the system. And Morgan's the big story, and Sargent's a nice pickup that can add some depth to the back line. And theoretically, if he's playing, someone's performance is dropped or somebody's hurt. Or he's been really, really good. And that would be great news for San Diego FC. Now, last year in the MLS Super Draft, there was a lot of excitement because SDFC had very few players. And the number one pick overall, which they got for being an expansion team, was Mano Dua. And then their next pick was Ian Pilcher. And by the end of the year, those two kids were starting playoff games for San Diego FC, game in and game out. Everyone below Pilcher in the Super Draft, you never heard from again. With that as the backdrop to this year, guys, what do we got from this year's Super Draft? And any Duas, or is it all below the Pilcher line?
I think it's below the Pilcher line, but I think this is kind of where I asked Tony that, are these guys going to make the roster? Because I'm looking at the supplemental roster, and I don't see any room for any of these guys to make the team. So what technically happens is they're on the college protected list, and they kind of get to keep them, bring them into training and so on. But it's not like they're part of the team and part of the roster. So Tony, are these guys going to be out there?
Yeah, it's going to take a special performance from these players in training to really break through. And you have a Mano Dua who's in that draft, a generational talent. There was a lot of talk of San Diego FC trading that first position, but they were steadfast in making sure that they got their guy in Mano Dua, and it definitely paid dividends in that sense. But there's always an opportunity for a player to break through in training. Looking at a goalkeeper, right? Like, who's this goalkeeper going to be behind? A very young Duran Ferri, who potentially is a starting goalkeeper on day one, depending on injury / red card situations for SDFC. But you need somebody to back him up. So is that going to be Kyle Durham? Was it? Yes. And sure. And then everybody comes back, and you just wave them off. And we saw these players get some time last year. Thinking about a USD player, Sammy Kanan, who was an excellent player. USD, along with head coach Quinny, who went well and did very well and played at a national level, but that's not enough in the sense. And for San Diego FC and the Right to Dream project, I don't really need it. Like that's what they're going to be looking at this project. Unless there's one player and they're in a position to go ahead and get him, and they can go ahead and just go all out for him, they will do that. But they're going to be having their own draft. Like that's the thing about Right to Dream. They're going to be making and fabricating these players to where, yeah, sure, draft. It's just going to be a token to negotiate some players. Maybe, hey, maybe somebody else needs these players, and you can go ahead and get something in return. But I will be happy to be wrong about this. I always want to see young players succeed, but it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough.
Just one quick question. CJ Dos Santos's face is going to be fine. Like, won't he start the opener? Why would Duran Ferry start the opener?
Because there is still some lingering just questions on the timeline of CJ Dos Santos and that face.
Really?
Yeah, just in the exit interviews, he was just talking about barely being able to be allowed to a slight jog because everything in his face is still setting, and it's just such it's the interesting way that the face heals. Where if you're jumping and just doing this is jumping up and down as well. So even with a mask like that's one of the things where, the timeline for that is still up in the air. So that's why Duran Ferry may start. But again, hopefully if CJ is ready to go, he's ready to go for that time. But yes, still does have a red card. However, doesn't have a red card in CONCACAF Champions play.
Hey, good news for that. Also, goalkeepers are insane. If I had a broken face, I would not sign up to go back to a job where I have to put my face in between high velocity professional soccer shots and a goal. But that's you, CJ. So you do you, keep it going. But speaking of the CONCACAF Champions League and CONCACAF Champions Cup, the old Triple C, it was alluded to earlier, but that's the other big piece of news for San Diego FC, that they have opted out of the beloved 1 year, but beloved nonetheless, Coachella Valley Invitational. That's not happening. Wave will have a couple of games out there. So if you did book your hotel room in Indio, hope you enjoy women's soccer as well, because Wave will be there, but SDFC will not. But they're going to play Pumas. Like, it was going to be one of those weird, almost like the Padres in 2026, where they've got spring training games, but then their stars are playing in the WBC, where it's life or death, and they're going crazy. That's a pretty good comp, I would say, to what's happening here with CONCACAF Champions Cup, except CONCACAF Champions Cup is more important than WBC. If you win WBC, you get a trophy, and people go, yay. If you win CCC, you get to go play. Who knows who you get to go play? Juventus or anyone, Liverpool, you don't know. You could go play somebody very, very special down the road. So I think that just makes all the sense in the world, and there's not really a story there.
No, I mean, they're going to play a high level competition to start the season, and just for them to go, all right, we got to do this whole little preseason thing in between, and then we're gonna have opening day right in between that. It just, I don't think it ever made sense to me, because you're wrapping it up to face boom bumps, and then you're gonna have to take a couple weeks off, and then it didn't make sense. But what are people kind of missing out though, if anything? Tony, I know you were out there, right?
Yeah, and a couple people actually messaged me, and they were like, "Hey, are you sad, or what do you feel? I know you were looking forward to going and covering SDFC out there." It's a really cool place for fans to access the players and see just almost like a training up close. And for San Diego FC year one, right? It's who's who, what's going on? You go out there and you see them lose to New York City, and you're like, oh, 3-0. All right, this is what we're going to go ahead and see the rest of the year, maybe. And since then, boom, they were able to bounce back. But in terms of just coverage, I can't say it was too much different than what I get to do, and have the privilege of be going over to Singing Hills and seeing training and talking to the Tyler, talking to Mikey, talking to the players. This is access that I'm able to have in the season. So to get out there, yeah, it's really cool. It's a really cool setting. It's a very expensive pizza. That's all right. That gets sold on the Coachella Valley grounds. You get to see the picture of, wow, this is where all this chaos happens and music and wow, incredible. And then you just realize, oh, I'm in Indio. That's about it. But no, I mean, it's a good opportunity for fans to get out there. So it is a shame that they're not going to be able to do that. But it does lend for the opportunity to say, hey, let's go ahead and go pack Snapdragon and take a trip down Mexico. Hey, Greg, can you reroute from Fort Lauderdale to that? No? Oh, okay.
I mean, that ticket's come and gone, but the idea of flying to Mexico City, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I was looking at Padres tickets. Unfortunately, I didn't log in as a season ticket member early enough. And so it was like, you can buy one ticket in this spot or one ticket in that spot. So I was like, maybe not. But I would love to go see Mexico City. I've never been to Mexico City. I would love to be there. I've only been to Baja and to Monterrey and to Hermosillo. I haven't had the chance to go to CDMX. So if I can be there on February 10th, count me in. I don't think there's a soccer's conflict directly. I'll go double check that. But I would love to be there for that in a silver suit, cheering on our beloved Chromatos against Pumas. And that would be pretty intense because that's the deciding leg right there. So no matter what we've done at Snapdragon, that's the game. Imagine SDFC getting a 2-1 win in the first leg, but then you're going back and it's a full sellout crowd at 7,400 feet. Everyone's losing their mind. And unless you score a goal, they just know they just need one goal and they're going to send it to pens. That atmosphere would be insane, man. It'd be absolutely insane. I would die for that. That could be the sporting event of the year on February 10th. So
yeah. I think away goals matter in this one, right?
Don't they? That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
That's why I said a 2-1 win.
Oh.
Where Pumas got a goal, but we got the 2-1 win, but then they score early in leg 2. Now you haven't scored. Now you need to score.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it's all there. That's all it's the classic international soccer recipe that we've grown up on and learned to love. And instead MLS dished us out. How about a best of 3 first round where after 90 minutes it goes to penalties and there's no aggregate and it's all a bunch of bullshit just to get everyone a home date. And then we'll take 3 weeks off and then we'll rush through the rest of the playoffs. Like, no, this is proper football. So I can't wait. And, shout out to the lone Indio overpriced pizza vendor truck that had set his price points to make all his money in 1 3-day span during the Coachella Music Invitational, and instead has had this second opportunity to add further revenue. I mean, because there's really not a lot of other great Indio events that you can go and park the truck. There's a few. Sometimes when the VFW gets together, it's a real banger. I hear the foosball tournaments in Indio are just beyond belief. For about a month and a half a year, the golf is incredible when it's not 125 degrees. The rest of the time it's a little tough, but some real exciting, intense times. They get into some pool, some great stuff with pool noodles that's very competitive and exciting. But otherwise, for the pizza truck guy, unfortunate not to get your business this year, Tony, but I hope he survives.
Yeah, he'll be fine. But hey, hopefully again, this is something that gets planned a little bit differently, and again with the shifting of schedules, we might have a chance to go to Coachella after all and watch some preseason for San Diego FC. So we'll see what that means later on. But look at the timeline again. Like, it's still incredibly insane. We were just looking at the season ending for San Diego FC, February 3rd. Like, that's a game, like a match. That is go time. Like, I'm expecting, let's see, everybody goes back to work tomorrow's Friday, and then after that everybody's in holiday mode going into the year. Everybody comes back to work the second week of January. That's when I expect people to start coming in and start training. Yeah, like that's bring down the tamales. And what and how whatever Amal Pellegrino is enjoying. I'll say this. During Thanksgiving break, everybody kept asking the players, "Hey, what are you doing Thanksgiving?" Half of them had no idea what Thanksgiving was. Amal Pellegrino was actually incredibly excited and stoked because he was invited to his neighbor's Thanksgiving, and he was like, "Oh, we'll see what it is." So I'm excited to talk to Amal Pellegrino after his first holiday season here in San Diego.
Yeah, most people will be going back to work on January 5th after their holiday breaks.
Yeah.
February 3rd, SDFC is playing a violent game in full action at Snapdragon Stadium. And even if the Champions Cup doesn't go the way we want and they're out in the first leg, 12 days later will be the season opener for MLS. So there is no preseason. There is no anything. It's let's gather in like 3 weeks for training camp and let's get rolling. Let's get this ball going. And we've got to be our best at the very, very beginning. This is going to be a year like no other, which I mean goes without saying because we've only had 1 year. But it's going to be a year like no other for SDFC.
Yeah, and it's going to be 3 opportunities for a trophy, and 4 if you count the supporter shield. But yeah, you have Champions Cup to start off the season. Leagues Cup has already announced its schedule. It's going to be in the summer, in August, I believe, right, Tony? And then MLS Cup and supporter shield. So yeah, there's going to be 4 different chances to become a champion of something. So plenty of opportunities. And Baja Cup. Oh, there. That's the 5th one. There you go.
Can't lose that. Nope. Just saying.
Can we start doing World Sevens? Can we follow Wave FC? Like, we add another trophy?
We should. Yeah, I really think then, yeah, it's a good payout too. Why not? Why not?
I'm just saying. Should they enter a team in TST? Would that be too much? Or yeah, that would be too much.
Well, actually, yeah, they were 3rd place in the ISFA Street World Cup before the season started. So hey, there was SDFC participation in that.
Guys, anything else on our wrap-up podcast? We kind of talked about the state of the pod at the start of the show. We've talked through these 2 signings. One, I think, a big signing. One, probably a depth signing. We've talked about the draft. 3 kids that were praying for a shot to earn the look, just a smile from Mikey Vares. They would give a week of sweat just for one smile from Mikey Vares right now. I will tell you that. Every kid picked in the super draft right now. Anything else before we head into our winter break?
I don't know. Do you want to do some just end of year thoughts of what you thought about this year for San Diego FC?
Yeah, I'm down. I mean, look, it's literally looking at that 1 year of Mikey Varas being announced. It's literally insane. I can tell you too, Tyler Heaps, who was originally hired to be the assistant sporting director, and then day after day, I actually saw him in between. I'm like, hey, so who are you assisting? There's nobody to assist. Like, and he's like, well, it's fun. But 2 days later, he got announced as sporting director. But I mean, it's really cool to see how much people miss it. Like I've been seeing on social media, how much people are missing it. I'm interested to see on social media too, with the holiday season coming up, all the presents that are being gifted, what type of, what kid's going to open up their, whatever, and see their jersey and like, incredible. Like what little bits of pieces of soccer lore are going to continue through and through. Right. I saw Honors Dreyer and Yepes Verskov have a soccer
like a training
camp, a clinic too. So players are here. The players are out there and they're doing their thing and they're enjoying what San Diego has to offer. And I think that's something that you can tell. The players really enjoy being in San Diego. They've enjoyed meeting the people, and I think the people have embraced the players very well. Right? Just look at the pop. Game 1. Honors Dreyer. Game 2, honors Dreyer. Hey, he scored. By the end of the season, it's a deafening in there when honors Dreyer gets announced. So really looking forward to seeing what it's going to be next year. And maybe when we come back, and that's something that we can talk about, is some New Year resolutions for San Diego FC, and maybe what a third kit's going to look like for San Diego FC.
Well, that would be very interesting. I would just say, to answer your question, Alex, that I think this is beyond the absolute Cinderella, Hollywood win MLS Cup your first year run out. This was the platonic ideal first year on the field for San Diego FC. They won the Western Conference. They captured the imagination of a region. The front office sold out Snapdragon Stadium over and over. And by the playoffs, it would take 10 minutes to sell out a playoff game. They had an MVP candidate. Their DP performed, even though there was a little controversy at the end of the year. He performed, and he certainly performed off the field, because you can't cast an eye at an SDFC crowd and not see Lozano first in terms of on somebody's back or on a T-shirt or on a hat somewhere within the crowd. They've earned the respect of MLS. Their front office was innovative. Their head coach finished a distant third in Coach of the Year, but was number one in our hearts, and I think was the best Coach of the Year in Major League Soccer. They've got flexibility to move forward. They've got an academy to back them, to continue to replenish the fort year after year after year. It's as good as it gets, as the kids would say. 10 of 10, no notes. That's what I've got for San Diego FC in year one, Alex. I've got basically a perfect run out, save not winning the Western Conference final and going to MLS Cup. And that still gives us something to reach for in a future year. So I'm actually kind of happy they didn't even do that, looking back, because now we've got some more things that we can reach for. So 10 of 10, no notes, Alex. That's my answer.
Yeah, and expectations are high. They're higher than last year because people they see the path of what this can be. This can absolutely be a championship team. And I think the one of the most important things for me is just thank you to San Diego FC, to the team, players, and all the fans out there for the memories. Like, this was such a special year. From I remember it was me, my friend Jesus, and Monica, and Tara, Jesus' girlfriend. We were just us four. We were like, we're dead on going to the opening day and being part of it, and to just it went from that to, oh, let's go to San Jose, let's go to LAFC, let's go to Portland and follow this team along. And then when you're on those trips, you get to see so many familiar faces. Like, after trip 2, I was like, oh, I remember this guy, I remember that person. Like, it's been so much fun, and I think that was like the whole purpose of starting Chromatic FC, just trying to recap all the memories that we're making. And it starts from the purple lot, and it's coming towards this Snapdragon Stadium. So it's been so much fun. And yeah, people really, they doubted if this team can be put together. I saw memes posting some receipts. I think it was earlier today. He posted some receipts from some pundits around MLS, and now this team outdid everybody's expectations, and not only with the performance, but also even like the crests and the jerseys and the colors that a lot of people didn't think they'd embrace, and now it's like the hottest item out there. I mean, everyone's wearing it. I see my delivery driver all the time wearing some San Diego FC gear, and yeah, it keeps growing. It's going to continue growing. I see a lot of the younger generation out at Snapdragon wearing all decked out. They're supporting this team, so it's always going to continue from there, right? They're going to carry on the torch and grow this thing, as big as it possibly can be. So yeah, what an amazing first year to have have this in San Diego.
Well, and one last thing, and you just brought him up, but before we go, I wanted to say big thanks to Terrible SDFC Memes for all the help that he has given to us to help populate the Chromaniacs channel on Instagram and to help its growth. And it's been growing and growing, and well over 600 members now. And I'm sure by this time next year, we'll be over 2,000 people on the Chromaniacs on Instagram. Yeah, look at that. Almost 700 right now. I feel pretty confident in that. That by this time next year, we'll probably be over 2,000 on that feed. Terrible SDFC Memes does it. He also does Terrible Padres memes. So, Brandon, thank you so very much. Thank you to Puma for the work he has put on behind the scenes to help. Thanks to Chiva and Abe for the support they've given to Tony for some of the live broadcasts along the way that we've done, where Tony is at Snapdragon and they're uploading the sound and the video for us while we're doing the work. There's a group behind Chromaniacs, and again, I can't say it enough. Thanks to the supporters, thank you to the casual fans, thank you to the folks who have found us. Leap, who I think is our number one fan overall, based on Facebook reposts. So, Felipe Recto, is that how you say it, Felipe?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. You're number one through 6 months. We really, really appreciate you. There can only be a first number one once, and that's you. And thanks to you guys for making this so much fun for me and such a viable, vibrant platform that can continue to grow and inhabit this space. So I'm really excited with what we've put together. No one knew for sure on June 3rd if it was going to be good, bad, or ugly. And so to be here today, I'm really, really happy.
Same here.
Love it. We just hope at SanDiego.Futbol we have a major league team. Hopefully we can do major league work for everybody, and it's been fun.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guys, that's it. Don't forget, chromaticfc.com, new platform for Alex Pena. Tell them all about it before your Canvas subscription expires.
Yeah. chromaticfc.com now. That's where you can catch all my writing. If anyone wants to go and look back and see Houston Dynamo stuff or anything I wrote about Galaxy or any type of matchups, you can go on there and check it out. The plan is always write something every week. So I think I'll have something for next week and write about all the acquisitions and everything. And hopefully something new comes up that we can talk about, another trade or another player signing. So that's something to look forward to. And yeah, thank you for everybody for subscribing. What about you, Tony?
Well, we can find everything that we do here. SanDiego.Futbol es la casa del fútbol, the house of the soccer in San Diego. The soccer. We've had a year. It's been a lot. It's been tough, but it's been interesting and it's been fascinating. And I wouldn't have it any other way. End of the year awards, 2 balls and a mic. Next episode, second to last episode of the year, we'll have a recorded episode on the 29th. I'll be in Big Bear, seeing what's up there. We'll see what's up there. But check it out, SanDiego.Futbol, all day, every day. Craig?
Alex, Tony asked me for my Big Bear recommendations on Soccer's Overtime yesterday, and I'm like, I've never been. So if you have any, you could offer those to Tony offline. Well, our recording time got pushed back 90 minutes because we did an emergency episode of Padres Hot Tub because Michael King signed a 3-year contract, or a 1+1+1 year contract, to come back to the Swingin' Friars. So that means that really 365 days a year, we bring it to you in finishing its 10th season of coverage, Padres Hot Tub, previously known as Make the Padres Great Again. You can support us at patreon.com/Padres Hot Tub and directly support myself, Chris Reed, and Rafi Cantor as we come together to bring you the latest, best independent Padres coverage here in San Diego. Chris and I just recorded an episode of Crossing Streams covering the Chair Company as well as the first batch of the final season of Stranger Things. And that along is one of 4 season-ending episodes of Crossing Streams that will come out between here and the end of December. So you can subscribe to Crossing Streams wherever you get your podcasts, including, as Tony put on the screen, Apple Podcasts, Soccer's Overtime. Tony and I did yesterday, covering the beautiful San Diego Sockers who won a game. And you can follow our journey all winter long as we announce those games live on YouTube and the CBS Sports Golazo Network. Our next live broadcast, Tony and I, will be on December 30th. So if you want to come out to Front Wave Arena and see the game live, please do. But otherwise, check us out on YouTube on December 30th as we announce that game at 7 p.m. Pacific. And I think that's all I've got. So for Tony Sanchez and Alex Pena, I'm Craig Elston. Thanks to you. Hope you have a great holiday season. Whatever you're doing, hope it's wonderful with friends and family. We will see you on the flip side in 2026. Until then, vamos, SDFC.